I have one of those jobs that people don't know what to do with in a social situation. Yeah, they'll ask me, as you do, what do you do? And I'll answer truthfully, I'm a pastor at a local church. And I have had all types of reactions. One time someone just walked away. Another time, or sometimes people are encouraged by that and relate to that. Another time, someone thought it was a practical joke. It was like a bit I did at events, at things. And then everything in between. Sometimes people have a few drinks and they come back and confess to me later on. Or they tell me, one of my favorites is people tell me ghost stories. I'm a magnet for ghost stories. And I love all of it. That's great. People are intrigued. But there's kind of one response that if we talk long enough that 98% of people will say. This one sort of statement. It'll sound something like this. Oh, okay, that's interesting. I must admit I'm not religious. Or they'll go, oh, my great auntie, she used to go to church. I'm not religious. I'm not religious. I'm not religious. I'm not religious. I must have heard this hundreds of times. And that's totally fine. People don't need to identify as being religious to talk to me. However, there is kind of one thing that kind of bugs me about it. And that's that it's not true. And I'm not just picking on people that I talk to. It is my strong opinion and kind of the main topic of this video that everyone is religious. Now, before you totally disagree and turn this off, I will invite you to hear the point behind the point, because there is one. But I need to start with some definitions first around religion and religiosity. Now, here are some that I found. Religion is a particular system of faith and worship. A pursuit of interest followed with great devotion. A cause, principle, or system of beliefs held with faith and strong feeling. A set or system of religious attitudes, beliefs, and ways of doing things. As you can see, these definitions are pretty broad. But they do have some central themes. One of the main ones being a system of beliefs, either a belief in a higher power, a belief in a way to be, or a belief in a future that we're aiming for, a strong feeling or belief towards something. And this system of belief was found in nearly all definitions I could find. Hey, hang on a minute, Steve. Sorry, mate. I have to stop you. You might be true for some people. It's all good for you, but it's not for me. I'm actually not religious. Never been to church. Not against it, just don't really feel the need. And besides, I think if I ever walked into a church, I'd catch on fire or something. It's just not for me. I'm not religious. I hear what you're saying, but can I ask, what is life about for you then? What gets you up? What motivates you? What's the reason? Yeah, you get up in the morning. My wife and kids, looking after them, providing for them, making enough money to give them a good life, be a good dad, be a good husband. I don't know, pay off the house would be nice. Maybe a boat, maybe buy a boat. I don't know, mate. I live for them. And I enjoy going catching a game on the weekend, taking the kids, having a beer or two. That's life for me. I think many guys our age would resonate with what you just articulated there. But please know, you just articulated a system of belief. You articulated a way you want to be in the world, a good dad, a good husband. You articulated ways that you want to live your life. You want your priorities. Footy with mates, watching games, taking the kids to sport, that community, how you even sing songs with that community, the footy anthems, and you even cheer them on with a crowd, and you share in what to you is set apart holy food. You might have a beer with friends, some chips, break bread literally with them. And so while it may not feel like it, you've prioritized that life. You've got a vision, you've got a belief, and you've got a system. And so, look, again, there is a point behind this point, but please know what you just articulated is you are religious. Look, I'm getting off topic here. My point is everybody has deeply held beliefs. Some we've chose, some we've learned, some are just kind of inherited through our culture and we're not conscious to them. But off those beliefs, we create systems, we build community, we choose what we like and we don't like, and we make priorities. And we ultimately worship these ideas. We sacrifice everything for them. So yes, I believe everyone is religious. However, that's not my main question. The bigger question is, how's that religion going? The reason I ask is because we live in an increasingly divided world. One could say our gods, our systems of faith, our systems of belief are falling apart. From the politicians we used to put our trust into that now seem corrupt, any side or any way you look at it. Our financial system, falling apart. People are struggling. And in my country, Australia, we call it the Aussie dream. It's one of our central beliefs to own your own house. Very few can do that right now. It's all falling apart. And so some of these religions, some of these systems we've built are just not living up to the standard, are just not giving what they promised. So as these gods, as our systems fall apart, human nature and history kind of tell us there's kind of one of three things. That was four. One of three things that we will likely lean towards. Number one is we'll double down. We'll be more religious, more fanatic. We'll start to just not listen to any other opinion, any other idea, any other belief, any other way, and we'll get angry about it. We'll be super religious about that thing we believe in. And we'll shut everyone down. We'll cancel anyone that disagrees with us. I think you know that I'm just explaining social media at this point. We just exist in our bubble and we double down with them. That's one way when everything is falling apart. A second thing we can do is we can try to find something distracting that kind of scratches that religious itch. We create something that kind of looks like it or numbs us enough. So the obvious ones is drinking and various vices. Probably the more sneaky one is just things that kind of look like religion. And if you don't know what I'm talking about listening to Pastor Joe Rogan as we drink our holy protein drink and we gather at our gym, and work out and distract ourselves with rhythms, community, and a bigger story. And so I'm not knocking you if you're into health, that's fantastic. But we kind of do these things because they almost look like faith. They almost look like a religion. We do these with celebrities. We go to their concerts. We sing their songs. And again, there's nothing wrong with liking musicians, but you'll notice the intensity at the moment around these celebrities. They're almost like gods. Because I believe we're created to worship. And so we distract ourselves with things that almost feel like religion. Instead of social justice, we like or share posts about social justice, getting that dopamine hit and feeling like we're contributing because we just talk and debate about contributing. And so it's completely normal. You can see these things playing out. And then the third is probably the least normal, possibly the hardest, but the one this video is encouraging you towards, is that we stop. We assess if our system, if our priorities, if the things that we are worshipping are working, if they're filling this eternal void. And if they're not, we reevaluate. We shift, we turn around, we change direction. We even grow. We mature. We find the real source, the thing that will actually be worthy of our time and worship and actually fulfill. That's not to say you can't do some of these other things, but they're not the main thing. Kind of reminds me, there's 66 books in what we call the Bible. And the second half of it is called the New Testament. And there's some stories in there called Acts of the early Christians or Acts of the Apostles. And there's this story found in Acts chapter 17 about a guy called Paul. And he's walking through ancient Athens. and he debates some philosophies. He comes across a Stoic philosopher, something that people follow today. And he also walks through the marketplace and sees just idols, which are just statues representing different gods, different needs, different wants. He sees them everywhere. And he makes this statement, which I think is so true for our moment right now. He says, I see that in every way you are all very religious. He says it way better, but essentially everyone is religious, is another way to say that. And then as he comments on this, he talks about one particular altar that had no idol on it. Instead, it had an inscription that he found right at the back. It says, to the unnamed God. As if to say, with all these philosophies, with all these ideas, with all these idols in this very religious society, they still weren't enough. They were barely covering this void that humankind seems to desperately, constantly be trying to fill. And Paul boldly says, and I agree with him, he boldly, to paraphrase, says, I know the name of that God. Talks about that God being there at the very beginning and the very end. He is the God. The answer to that void. The only thing worth following, the only thing worth putting up on that pedestal, the only thing worth giving up our time, the only thing worthy of our worship. And that God is known through Jesus. Now, this video is not made to convince you of that. At the bare, if you want to be, happy to have that chat. Love that. But at a bare minimum, this video is designed in a way to hopefully just at least ask yourself the question, what religion am I following? What is my belief system? And in this era where all the gods are falling, is yours holding up? Does yours suffice? There's an old school statement, it is well with my soul. Is your soul well? Is the thing you're following and pursuing bringing wellness to your soul? Only obviously you can answer that. But would love to hear. I'd love to hear. Comment below if you've enjoyed this type of discussion. Share this video, like it, share it around. If you've not enjoyed the content of this video, like it, hate share it. That's a thing. Share it around because it makes you so angry that you just want to tell people how angry you are at this video. I'll take that. Either way, I'd love to hear what you think, what your current religion is, what you're following. Is it working for you? Or maybe you just got some questions. Maybe this raised more questions than answers. I'm up for the discussion. This is why this channel exists. Thank you so much for watching and hopefully see you in the next video.